Hello everyone, welcome back to the RedSeaPodcast for one final, thankfully relatively calmer time in 2025. And what a year it has been for Olympiacos, what a year it has been for the show in general. But we'll get into that in another video, not live. I'll explain in a semi-announcement after, because today we have one thing to talk about and one thing only, and that's the game we witnessed last night. And the game we witnessed last night, thankfully, because it almost wasn't, thankfully was a victory away at Bologna. Bologna this year has proven to be a tough opponent, of course. Beaten Panathinaikos, of course, gone on to stay damn near undefeated in the first part of this season. And of course, standing at now, if I'm not mistaken, 2 losses at home this season. Do correct me on that if I'm wrong. But thankfully, we escape. We escape with 3 points, 94-97, and we escape in a weird way, to be honest. We escape in a way in which we witnessed for the first 3 quarters, especially the second and the third, Olympiacos basketball that we haven't really seen this season. Olympiacos basketball that we've gone on to not to necessarily how do I say this properly? Not to necessarily be too bad, as in to actually witness, but it felt like we've been too disorganized to actually witness this basketball. Felt like pieces were missing in some games. Felt like we lost grip of some games that we should have had control of. For example, the most recent case being the Valencia game. And in general, that chemistry, that defense-based and then attack like a unit basketball has been missing. And yesterday we saw that for 3 quarters. And again, especially the second and the third, we saw that. We saw passing play, in my opinion, that's been better than the entirety of the year, bar minor exceptions, especially in the second and the third quarter. We saw some plays where the team just seemed to be working like a well-oiled machine on both ends, right? And then we went on to see everyone putting their positives out there to 1,010% up until the end of the third quarter. And we were up 20 even at a point. We were up 20. And then the fourth quarter. I don't necessarily know why. I don't necessarily know how we ended up doing that. And I don't necessarily know in which way that can be avoided, per se. I don't necessarily know what the solution to this mainstay problem of this season is, because it feels like there is just one specific issue each and every single time. And that's that 1 quarter blackout problem that we've seen way too many times this season, that we've seen happen again and again, that has led to us losing leads. Also, do excuse me if I'm looking left, but with the banners that I made as my notes, so you all can know what I'm talking about as well. I didn't realize there is a timer now on this. That's why they kept disappearing. So, as I was saying, we've seen this problem this season many times. We've seen this problem this season again and again and again and again. And we almost saw it again. Having the ability to end the third quarter, God knows how much we were up in the third. Let me actually check that. We were up 17 in the third quarter. And we know that with being able to play some concentrated basketball, I'm not even saying that, let's go out there and play at our best. And if we played the basketball we played in the third and in the second, and even in the first, where it was relatively more even, and yet we were a bit lackluster defendingly to open up, in my opinion. But we picked that up immediately, so I'm not concerned enough to address that as a problem. But we go on to play the basketball that we did, and then just collapse. And then we just collapse. I do want to say, we went on a 12-0 streak for a very solid 2 minutes of the game. And then we were up 5. And after that, with some small streaks from Bologna, the game ended up as it did. And again, I'm not in a position to complain. I don't want to sit here and complain because, again, a victory in Bologna, especially with how they've been this season, especially at home, is something to be proud of. It really is something to be proud of that doesn't change. And ending a very weird 2025, especially the first part of this season, with such a victory, is something that can build much needed momentum moving forward. But that specific problem, and it's not always the fourth, right? It's been the third, sometimes been the second. The pattern that I've been personally noticing with the first quarter is that it's shockingly even every single game, which is perhaps another thing, another talk for another time. But the team needs to realize that even if they're up 30 goddamn points, they need to see out games concentrated. And that's up to a lot of things. That's up to some combinations, that's up to concentration, mainly defensively with the absence of Tyson Ward. Of course, that's cost us defensively, which has led to another weird thing for an Olympiacos under Bartzokas, which is winning games on offense and not on defense, which rarely happens. But with the absence, of course, the long-term absence of your main strength defensively, which is the long-awaited Musfal, and now the immediate absence for a month of Tyson Ward, who has been your best piece defensively by a long shot ever since he came in. You need to be winning games offensively. And to get into more details slowly but surely and just end this repetitive rant, I'll use what Evan said yesterday in his postgame. Say that a win is a win. And it was an important win. A win to not overlook for sure. And speaking of the man himself, I didn't mean to so utterly effortlessly transition into that, but he is the first performance I want to touch on. Evan has had a weird season, as has the entire team. He was out, of course, for a while. He's been sick, missing some games as well. And we haven't really seen the Evan Fournier that we saw last season, where even if the entire team is struggling, he'll step forward and he'll even win you the game if needed. Yesterday, for what felt like either the first time or one of the few times this season, take it as you wish, Evan Fournier proved to the millimeter what I have been preaching about all season, that on a normal day, he's the most crucial player we have. On a normal day, Evan Fournier is the one that will step forward. And I'm not saying that as a disrespectful thing towards Vezenkov, towards Dorsey, especially Dorsey, which I'll get into in a bit. But that's his nature. Evan's nature. I know this phrase is a bit overused, but Evan is a big moment player. On his good day, he'll perform as you wish. But there is days, and there is a lot of days, where Evan will step forward. And for the first time this season, he did. The incredible achievement of 7 out of 10 threes. No mid-range shots, none at all. 21 points only from threes, 1 rebound and 1 steal to his name, and the wins half year. Right? Because those threes didn't only build momentum for himself, build momentum for the team. They were crucial. They were clutch after a point, especially the contested ones. I can recall he made a 3 from almost the goddamn logo. And that builds a fire in your teammates as well. Of course, that builds a fire in you. He was amazing coming back as well. He fought for everything. His off-the-ball movement, as always, was incredible. But he made the goddamn shots. That's the most important thing that we've been missing from Evan Fournier. He made the goddamn shots. I said that last time, that the Villarban game could have been used as a momentum boost for those who needed it. Evan needed it. And if the Villarban game was the first step for him to launch into the Fournier that we know, love, and need, because don't get me wrong, this team needs a good Evan Fournier. I'm going to be extremely grateful for that. And of course, he saw that his favorite clients are up next. So he decided to kickstart his engines a bit early. Another person, though, that I just went on to mention is this man. I know that, of course, for those of you that didn't see, there are a few clips up. I was a guest on a wonderful show a few days ago, and I was asked who the most crucial player of the team is. And I said that it is Milutinov, Fournier on his day, and then Dorsey. Tyler Dorsey is having the best season of his career. And that's not even close to second. I can't track back in time and say that this could have happened if he stayed and stuff like that, and stuff may have been different, but that's what's happened has happened, right? And perhaps in ideal timing, Tyler said that he had something to prove. And in contrast to last season, we've seen a completely different Dorsey. A completely different Dorsey. Even on his bad days this season, this man is putting up 12, 2, and 5. He's putting up a consistent player's number. And on his good days, he's putting up this. Along with Evan Fournier yesterday, he took it upon himself to step up, step forward when needed. Of course, the most notable thing from from his game is that it's not the 4 out of 9 threes, yes. It's not the 44% from the threes, which is amazing. There's no doubting that. But it's that shot at the end. God, I'll fix this immediately. There we go. It's that shot at the end that cold, that freezing cold pull-up. Which, again, I said that half of the win is advance. That focal point of the game is basically what sealed it. Of course, the incredible performance of putting up 23, 4, and 5, and just a wonderful game of consistency. And as I said in regards to Evan as well, consistency and moments. Because we're talking about another confidence player. And Tyler is not only just staying here in his confidence higher than ever, he's going like this. He's going up. Steadily, but up. And as I said, everyone's going to have bad nights. It's human. But when a player that had the issues that he had last season puts up 30 to even 40 in the league, his good nights, and puts up 15 on his bad, you're talking not only about a player that's going to be a vital reason for your success, whatever that success may mean this season, but you're talking about an MVP candidate. You're talking about your most valuable player of the season, consistently, and you're talking about the league's most valuable player of the season, consistently. There's half a season to go, but at this rate, I feel like Tyler will have us out. And speaking of best of the best, let's talk about Milutinov, a player that I've been preaching about ever since last season. A player that I've been yelling that when people said that he should go, a player that I've been yelling that when he gets that role of a starter and gets 20 to 25 per game, knock on wood, God help he stays healthy, right? Everything is gonna work out as intended and then some. Everything is gonna work out as intended and then some. As it has. I've been told that stuff isn't working as well as it should be for Milutinov. I've been told that he's lackluster in some stuff, and I come out here and say that's bullshit. We're talking about right now, as things stand, along with probably Eddie Tavares, as he is having a second prime at 34, God knows how old he is. We're talking about the most dominant big in the league. And I stand by that. Nico Milutinov is the most dominant big in the league right now. And he's putting up necessity numbers. But the problem is that he's standing alone at the 5. Because then you look behind him and you look at Donta Hall, who, and at least in my opinion, and again, you all know, especially if you've been watching me for a minute, you know that I don't backtrack on my words. I don't backtrack on what I say, even if I'm wrong. I've been open. I've even openly supported Luca Vildosa last season, who remembers how to play basketball against us for some reason, even though he never played with us. I don't backtrack on what I say. And in my opinion, up until a certain point, Donta was showing promising signs. But the last few games, I don't know what has been going so wrong for Donta Hall. Especially on the defensive end, he's been nowhere, sadly. And again, I'm not meaning any disrespect. I like the player. I really do. But he needs to work stuff out if he wants to stand as Milutino's backup. Because again, I'm not going to compare him. But if, I don't know if it will happen because I know the team are looking for a big, so Donta may fall back. And at this point, rightfully, right? But if Donta actually goes on to work on the negatives of his game, don't know if that's possible. We're talking hypothetically. And actually picks up speed, picks up concentration, and everything in between. And even if he falls down the pecking order of the bigs, I don't know who'll come in. I don't know any names. I don't know anything. I'm not even going to pretend like I do. As all of you know that I'm not never going to try and act like an insider. I'm never going to sell you all the fake BS that people sell you. But if we stand as we do and Hall just starts taking those, even those baby steps that he did from the start of the season up until a certain point, and stops making these rash decisions and these mistakes that he is, we're talking about a wonderful backup. Okay? A wonderful second choice and a luxury third. But if it continues like it is right now, and he stays and he stands and the athleticism that he has, and minimal else, Nico is standing alone. Nico needs a rest. Because as incredible as Milutinov is, we can't overwork him and we know that. But to pull back a bit and not start another round and go back to the positive, he's putting up wonderful numbers. And for me, he's not half the stuff that's been said about Milutinov is being said out of spite, and I'm positive about that at this rate. We're talking about a player that's not, that never was a lazy player. We're talking about a player that's working more than ever, though, seems like. He's improving on his game still even now. And he's molded perfectly into what we need of him from this season. And again, bad nights are normal. Bad nights are normal. But Milutinov is a necessity. And if it wasn't for Nico Milutinov this season, a lot of stuff would have gone very differently. And we'll see that with Pana as well. I'm standing by that. Of course, Milu, in 27, he put up 13, 9, and 5 with a steal to his name. And then talked about him a bit ago. I'll talk about him a bit more extensively now, and I'll talk about the opinion I shared on the other show in which I talked about. And of course, that talk is in regards to Sasha Vezenkov. Now, Sasha had a good night last night. Sasha had a calm night, putting up 16 and 5. And of course, stats never say everything. I've said that many times. But I'll stand and expand on what I said. For me, the thing that Sasha has been having a bad season, for me, that's wrong. That opinion I full on disagree with, and I've stated on that many times. For me, Sasha has been having a very consistent and good season. And I'll stand on that. But I expect more from Sasha Vezenkov. And I don't just expect more from Sasha Vezenkov, and I'm probably quoting myself verbatim, but I've said this many times. I expect more for Vezenkov, not because of his contract, not because of his role, not because of the love that he gets from B, not because of anything like that. I expect more from Sasha Vezenkov because of the goddamn talent that he has. Sasha is an incredible player in every sense. He's smart. His pull-up ability is probably unmatched in the league on his day. Purely dent shot-wise, Alec has I hope you all could hear me. I didn't realize. But as I said, his confidence fell, and that's clear. Do I blame him? Do I not? I don't know. I can't really stand here and blame a player like Vezenkov. But on the other hand, it's on Sasha for him to go out there and prove everybody wrong and show who he really is. It's on him. And that won't change. That's not going to change for anyone, not me, nor anyone else. Not the fans, that's not on the fans, that's on Sasha. And he can. And again, I'm not saying he's having a bad season, but it's not that I or anyone else expects more from him. It's that he should be expecting more of himself. He did step up as well last night. Not as much, but he did. And more people need to do that as well. So that's not only on Sasha, but it's what I said for Evan earlier. You expect people like Evan, like Sasha, like Milu, like Dorsey, to step up. And Evan and Sasha especially. So he needs to be doing that a bit more. And again, I don't mean this with any disrespect in the slightest. And the last thing, of course, that I want to talk about game-wise is Monte Morris and his debut. Because what I saw is stupid. Of course, a debut of testing proportions, played 14, didn't put up any points, but was very crucial in other aspects, had 3 rebounds, all defensive, had 2 assists, with one arguably being assist of the game, with his incredible lob to Donta Hall, and had a block to his name as well. Of course, Donta is a player that needs Donta. I'll talk about him after. Monte is a player that needs time, but that's already showing amazing signs. Monte is a player that's showing incredible signs, both in the league and yesterday. Signs of playmaking, signs of movement that this team needs from its point guard. The only thing that he needs to find on his pace, because of course this is his first Euroleague game, I'm not going to blame him. And this isn't what we necessarily need from him. But it's the shooting, of course. But in most other aspects, in almost all other aspects, he already is showing stuff. And as he said, he's barely at 70%. It's going to happen quick, and it's going to happen over the holidays as well. But even with Pana up next, even with Panathinaikos, I truly do believe that we'll see a different Morris, and a much needed Morris. Speaking of Pana, we opened 26 with a very interesting game. Pana away, of course, is always a game that the whole of the league pays attention to, a game that's unpredictable, a game that's going to be chaotic, and a game that is a must-win for many reasons. Everyone needs to show up. Everyone needs to come back. Hopefully we're fully healthy by the time the game comes. And everyone needs to play like Evan last season. We need to send them off course. We need to demolish them mentally, and a win will do that. And everyone needs to show up. And I believe that they will. Long road ahead with some very tough games. But the team is showing signs that we should be very happy and proud for. And honestly, that's about it from me. I am gonna technically see you all again in one more video in 2025. It's gonna be a thank you video that's gonna be pre-recorded. Hopefully, gonna have some footage from Gav as well, who is recovering from a sickness. That's why he's been gone. It's a thank you video for everything that's happened this year. But as the live version of me stands here and not a pre-recorded one, I just wanted to say that I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you all stand to have a wonderful New Year. Reflect on 2025. If you saw it as a cursed year like me, reflect on what happened, how you improved, and be proud that you're still here. Be very proud that you're still standing here. Raise a glass to yourselves, first of all. Raise a glass to your loved ones and the people that stood by you. And if you saw it as a good year, which I hope from the bottom of my goddamn heart, I hope that you all had an amazing 2025. Reflect on the good things, appreciate them, and aim for an even better 26. We'll talk about that more in detail when that video comes out in the next few days. But for now, live-wise, I'll see you all, unless something insane happens in the next few days, by the way. But live-wise, I'll see you all in the new year. You all did a lot to make 2025 as special as it could be. And success-wise, I couldn't be happier with this year. And I hope you all were more than happy with the coverage I gave. But I can stand here and promise you that 26 is going to be better than any of you can imagine. See you all soon. Thank you.